You good? 5, 4. We're rolling. Welcome.
And action.
Welcome to New York, and it's Saturday night.
I said, welcome to Saturday Night New York.
We are here with Canaan Cox, good friend of mine that I met 3 years ago on a podcast called Nashville Hits Collecting Dust with a good friend Donald Jenkins.
Yeah.
So ever since then, Ken and I have become pretty close with doing various things throughout his career as a songwriter musician, my career as an entrepreneur here in Nashville, working on an app called We Should Write Sometime. And then we have our lovely Shelby here, who is our intern from Belmont. Say hello.
Hi, friends.
What we want to do is talk about Canaan, but first a little background on him. He is hailing from Hendersonville, North Carolina.
That's it.
At one point was doing show business, entertainment, and doing some performing on cruise ships, and now has gone all the way from there to selling out 2 tours in the UK, pretty much all on your own, which is wonderful. And for me, something besides his incredible stage presence, his music, his singing, the thing that I love about him is his fan engagement, the way he works social media and all the platforms to really make sure he stays in touch with his audience, his fans, and a great way to gain new fans. We'll talk about that a little bit. Really, his passion, his energy, his enthusiasm is infectious and inspiring, and something that, you know, is, if anybody spends time around him, we'll definitely get that from him, and then it'll really help transform that into whatever you're working on, whether it's in music or on your own stuff. On his profile as a user of We Should Write Sometime, it says in there something along the lines of, if Ed Sheeran was a country artist, that would be who he is. And so as you check out his music and his songs and everything that he's put out there, which is so fantastic, and not being biased, one of your personal favorite fans of all time. I love your stuff. Thank you for all of your hard work, and we're excited to chat with you just a little bit about your music and your songwriting, and we will let Shelby take over all the questions.
What a great intro.
All right, getting into the hard stuff. Just kidding, not really. What or who made you want to become a songwriter musician, and when did you realize you want to pursue it professionally?
Both of my parents write, not in the sense of you wouldn't know anything that they've ever done. Just like, let's write in the basement, this is a good song about daffodils. But I grew up in music. Mom played in a band, Dad knows about 3 chords on the guitar, so everything that he's ever written always sounds like a church hymn. So I'm like, Dad, write the words. Don't give me a melody, don't sing it, it's gonna sound just like, you know, Lily of the Valley from page 13 of the Baptist hymnal that we went through. I'm like, no, give me this. So he's actually on Coming Back. He wrote, it's one of my songs on the EP. He wrote a couple a line. Tim and I have Drinking to Forget, which was a single we released last year. So I give a lot of the credit to songwriting to them. Me personally, I never, you know, going through college or coming in here, I think there's the entertainment side and there's a songwriting side, and then I think there's a nice meet in the middle of where if you can do both, then why not? My first song, I wrote a poem for some girl. It is senior year of high school, and I read it to my roommate in college, and he was like, hey, you should put that to music. And I was like, okay. And I did, and that was my first song. It was called Waiting. And so I kind of got into it, and some things just kind of led to one to the other. But yeah, it's just another way. I'm very creative. I just like to be in the creative atmosphere, and so I just think songwriting is another outlet to do so.
What would you say your musical influences were growing up?
Definitely like the pop scene back in the day. I mean, of course, I grew up in country music. You know, Mom blasted all the southern rock, like Skinner and Boston and Canada. Very pop in the back of that. Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Whitney. That is my vibe, and especially with some of my newer songs. As much as I'm playing like on the road, I find it that I'm writing for that. I'm writing for what it's going to look like on stage. I'm writing for how is this going to feel for an audience of, you know, 1,000 people, but just, you know, people out there, and I can find those influences coming into my newer music now that I'm on the road a little bit more than I was 5 years ago, and writing a little bit more differently in that sense. But a little bit of MJ. Always cover Billie Jean on the road, and it's always in the set list. Sometimes it's like the first song we play, and it just kind of grabbed everybody's attention. But yeah.
When you first moved to Nashville, what were the first things you started doing to get your career started?
Paying rent, a job. Yeah, I moved here. Kind of what I've learned now is kind of the worst time. The holiday season, just this whole place, especially like downtown, it's a very becoming a tourist scene. And as far as entertainment goes, people kind of check out in the business industry up until basically Thanksgiving until CRS, which is country radio, like a seminar is what the F stands for, up in February, and then things start to pick back up. But I moved in September, and of course everyone's like, yeah, I need to go on Broadway and stuff like that, which was a step into it, but I kind of saw that as a platform to gain fans. I know, like what Kevin was saying, try to engage with folks, and it's super cool to kind of have gone from there to playing and doing that kind of thing to now. Sometimes I'll pick up a shift or something, you know, a couple months ago I was like, yeah, sure, like whatever, my guitar player's out on the road or something, and being able to be like, hey, where's everyone from? And oh, San Diego, I'll be in San Diego next week. Oh, you're in Wisconsin, I'll be there in September. St. Louis, I'll be there in October. Utilize that and use them as a resource, the audience, to kind of build up your fan base. So that's kind of my first step, was get a job, and then I didn't know really where to start, in the sense, I think every story's different, but I was like, I just want to play, and right now, playing in front of anyone that I possibly could would be good enough.
Yeah.
Be a good enough start.
And how did you find those people to reach out to even get in front of those people or give you access to the stage or wherever? Like, what was kind of that?
I literally walked downtown. I called my dad. I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this. And I had a note. I wish I had my old phone. Had a note on my phone. And I literally, and if you're not from Nashville, there's a little pick sign. It says live music on it. I walked into every bar in Nashville or downtown, 2nd Avenue, 4th Avenue, 3rd, like everything that I heard music, and I walked in and talked to a bartender or talked to somebody, and like on my phone I was like, all right, cool, big shots. Kelsey is here on Thursdays, call them. And no one got back to me. I mean, you'll learn, you know, Nashville down there, it's almost like a day job. It's almost like, hey, cool, yeah, I have Tootsie's from 11 to 2. I go down to AJ's from 3 to 6 or whatever. And so it's kind of hard to get in, but it was for Basic Jacks on 2nd Avenue. I emailed the guy about 4 times, texted him, he had a little card, he was never there. And then finally, my new roommate at the time, we went to Cerveza Jack's just for tacos. Like, not even because, and I grabbed one of the bartenders, I was like, hey, is what's his face here? Like, yeah, that's him. I was like, hey man, this is Canaan, this is me, I've emailed you 1,000,000 times. Like, what do I gotta do to play up in here? And so it gave me like a Monday shift. I think it was 6 to 10 at night. And I got there, and having performed on cruise ships beforehand, was able to just have a deep repertoire of music, and he liked what he heard, and so I was serving food at the time, and went from there to playing, and so other things led to another, and was able to get out of that job. But it was a lot of shaking hands, and learned that showing up is always better than an email.
Yeah.
So there you go, walk in and just be like, hey man, let's make this real awkward real quick. Check your emails. So moral of that story is you've got to put in the work to actually be there in proximity where you want to play, and not be afraid of a rejection. Oh yeah, because that's, especially booking your own shows. I mean, that's Nashville. That's a whole different ball game in the sense of, because they're booking these shows, Pulse Ringgood, you know, the restaurant and stuff like that, and the bar. Like, they don't. It's hard to get into as a first time artist. Like, they've got their guys. Like, people have been playing down there for 5 years. It's like, oh yeah, cool. Trey McDonald, I don't know if that's somebody, I'm sorry, but you know, Trey McDonald's here from 11 to 3 every Tuesday, man. So you gotta wait for someone to die or get sick to get a shot to play Wagon all 8 times.
On the business side of music and songwriting, what do you wish you knew when you first started writing songs?
Patience is another one. Patience, even still, like, I'm nowhere even close to where I want to be, but as things progress, it's a big factor. Like, I moved here with, not with a chip on my shoulder, but I just thought some other people would help in that sense, in that world, and they didn't. And I think, as of, you know, being young, I think it's anybody who's young, and at that stage, you're just like, all right, cool, like, I'm doing this stuff, and you look back on it, and you realize, I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was, I'm not even close to working as hard as I should have been, and waiting for that stuff to actually happen. So patience. And just a nice little cherry on top of that is, don't listen to anyone. In the sense of, it's just an ever-evolving talent, it's an ever-evolving industry, and so you'll go here and someone will say, hey, this is how it's done. And you turn around and see the complete opposite. And you talk to this person, wow, that guy's an idiot, like, you should do this. And so, take it all in and listen to what they have to say, but at the same time, it's like, there's 840 different ways to do it. No certain way is right or wrong. So just trying to stay true to what you want to do. And I think that's kind of my mentality is basically pretend you're your own label. If you want to release a song, release a song. If you want to promote it, promote it. If you want a music video, figure out a way to pay somebody to film it. So.
What's your favorite song you've written and why?
It changes. It changes. I think Just Me is one of my favorite ones that I've written in the sense of that it's like the true country story, like us playing to 0 people in Memphis on a Wednesday night. And I wrote it like at the bar. I went to go play, no one was there. I asked the bartender, like, you want me to sing? And he's like, just wait like 10 minutes. If no one comes, then I'll pay and go home. And I wrote the song while we were waiting in that 10 minutes. And so it's just a kind of a cool song. And then to see it, you know, like Kevin was saying, went on 2 UK tours, and to go over to a place I've never even been and see 200 people, just me and a guitar, and 1,000, no, not 1,000, but the whole room singing that song back to you. I was like, and for some reason, I guess it's just a rural country vibe. I mean, there's no frills in that song. It's guitar and my voice and like a steel. And so I guess that's why it resonates with like fans and stuff. So that, but then also you flip it around and go take my time, and then you see the people dancing and having a good time. But that one, it's like, this is my favorite song. So it's a little different. Right now, it's When It Comes to You. That's my favorite song to play because it's just, it's a jam.
Love that.
So yeah.
Co-writing, which is what We Should Write Sometime is all about. Do you prefer writing alone or co-writes?
So far, I've written most of the stuff by myself. Take My Time, Out of Nowhere. Or co-writes, and again, like me and my dad have co-written, but it's just mostly that right down, I need a line right here. I guess I would say I would like co-writing in the sense that I'm pretty good at writing the lyrics, but sometimes as much as I play, like I try to stay away from the melodies and some of the chords. So like then I have a new single coming out in September, and I wrote a lot of the words. I came up with a little bit of the idea here, but then I took that to my producer, who we did like On My Way Home and When It Comes to You, and he helped with that one as well. And I can come with this, the idea, the bones of the song, and be like, this is what I want to be about, this is the vibe, and then him as a producer can come in and be like, this would be cool, pre-chorus here, let's repeat this. More of the structure side of it, and so that helps in the sense mentally for me as like a lyricist to be like When It Comes to You, we did a phone call. It wasn't even, there was a bridge, and usually there's lyrics and words there, but the song is talking about a girl calling me out of nowhere and just being like, right now. So I was like, we should definitely, I remember standing there, it was just the first one, I was like, we're doing a phone call! And I immediately called, we were demoing it, and I called my friend Lauren. I was like, hey, I just text you like a script. Just literally get on speakerphone and say the script. And so it's kind of cool in that sense, because if I was writing by myself, I don't think I would have gotten to that creative spot to go. That's how I've approached some of the things so far. I've done a couple of co-writes, sometimes it's sometimes it's not, and everyone brings a different side of, brings a different talent or task. I think I like to try to tell a story about it.
So we've heard that songwriting can be kind of like dating sometimes. So when you first meet someone, you're not sure if it clicks or not creatively. Have you experienced that in a co-write before?
Yeah, I've done a couple co-writes. I've done a lot of co-writes that you walk out of the room and you just like never ever talk again. It's almost like you ghost them. It's like, that was fun. And yeah, no, for real, it was just like, all right. I gotta go into a co-write in the sense of, because co-write's it's a lot of time. We'll sit in a room for 3-4 hours, and for someone who's an independent artist, I'm like, I could be booking, I could be doing this. So when I go into a co-write, either I'm cutting that song, either we're writing for me to go out in the studio and record it, or you as another artist are gonna go cut it. And Take My Time, we were in a co-write, and we wrote a whole other song, and we got like to the second verse, and I was like, this sucks, I'm not feeling this. And then honestly we were just like, let's write a pop song.
Scrapped it?
Yeah, we scrapped the whole thing. We started with this cool little groove, and at that time I actually we wrote a pop song, and for me I was kind of in this not a weird spot in the career, but I was like, should I, country's pop, pop's country, this whole thing. I was like, what do I really want to do? And I got the demo back, and I was like, gotta cut it, I want to cut it, let's do this. It's a lot of, hey, cool, like, where did you grow up? What do you bring to the table? Do you want kids? No? Okay. we can talk about the co-write, but you get as far as dating goes in that aspect, it's a lot of
Like
trying to see what the other person can do, or how you don't want to like I've done it right where I've written literally 90% of everything and they were like, hey, you should do this. I'm like, oh, cool, and do that. And you kind of walk out of there like, okay, well, there are things for that 33%. But yeah, so it's a little bit different, but hit or miss sometimes.
Alright. Well, as a traveling independent musician, artist, songwriter, you're gone more than you're here. Do you have scheduled times you'd like to do songwriting and co-writing, or do you think you kind of like write stuff on the fly, or what's your writing process?
So far, it's all been on the fly. Everything other than Long at Home and Take My Time to the songs, they've all been true stories or something that's happened out of like a real life situation. When it comes to You, that was a real thing. Girl calls me out of nowhere and got off the phone and wrote the song in like 10 minutes with the words.
Wow.
And then got to the studio and did the whole thing. So I think that's one thing I want to, as a songwriter, to be better. Like I love the creative sense, but to be able to walk into a room and feel completely different about a situation or hear someone else's perspective and go, all right, cool, how do we tell that story? As much as I'm on the road, I don't do as much co-writing as I probably want to. But so far, the career has been out of an experience. Like something has happened, and I write a song. But yeah, so on the fly, I guess you would say.
Yeah. If you could rewrite one of your released songs, which would it be and why?
Probably Given Up. Given Up is off the EP. It's not like a fan favorite or anything because it's came out before like anything really took off or whatever. But I love it. Just I like the idea of the song. Go listen to it. Given Up, Canaan Cox on Spotify and iTunes. But it's basically this idea of a girl and a guy getting in a fight, and he's sober, and he's kind of giving up a bunch of stuff, the cliche things, alcohol, cigarettes. But hey, we're here in this fight, but you and I aren't worth giving up. And so I just like the sense it's just got country written all over it with the whole, giving up this and this, but you're not one of them. But I just think someone else's little direction or a little tweak here and there lyrically, or just someone else's Nashville or professional touch could have made it go, oh, that is a #1 song. Yeah, so Given Up.
Do you feel like in your career so far, there's anything you wish you could have done differently to get where you are?
I'm very much a person, not even in just the career, but just in life, that everything happens for a reason. Some people ask in other podcasts or interviews of like, is there anything you regret? Or I'm like, of course there's stupid things like, I would have learned than that. But at the same time, I think, again, everything happens for a reason. So honestly, no. I kind of enjoy the ride so far. If I knew the things I do now, 3 years ago, of course, there has been things that have completely changed. However, I think I would have, it's almost if someone handed you it. If someone said, hey, how do I do? I'll get Instagram DMs or emails of like, hey, I'm an artist and I'm trying. And I actually used to be that person. I remember sending some DMs to other people that I was like, not super famous, but they were out there doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And them saying like, hey, look, I don't really know how to answer that. And of course, as an independent artist, you're like, whatever, you just don't have to help me. But now I'm in that situation, and so actually when I get those DMs, I try to explain it as best as I can to like whoever it is. I'm just like, hey, it's really hard and it's different, and if you're not willing to work for it, it's very much a business. And so at the same, so when we were talking about this question, I don't think so, because I feel like I would have been handed it.
Right.
I think someone would have, and I would have appreciated the ride as much as I do. So in 10 years to look back and go, oh my God, I walked the streets of Broadway talking to Clarence at, wherever, whoever it is, and now here we are, and I'm the next superhero movie.
It's true. It is true. At the end of your career,
I would have cut my hair differently. That's what it was. I used to buzz my hair, and I look so dumb. Like I'm a pretty husky guy anyways, and I used to be chubby and fat and all that stuff. But I did everything wrong that I could physically to not help that situation. Buzzed my head and shaved my face, and I was chubby, so I looked just like a roly-poly-oly. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's what I would have done different. I would have been like, cut your hair, grow this out, but don't grow it like all scratch. Anyways, I'm done with this question. You get my point. Go on.
Okay, at the end of your career,
End of my career.
if you could leave your fans with one thing to remember you by, what would it be?
Whew, that's like so deep. It's never that bad. Like, life isn't as serious as we all make it out to be. And that's one thing I try to do now. And again, going back to Instagram DMs, that's one of my driving goals, and is to aspire to inspire, but through the acts of just being joy. Everyone's always like, why is it happy all the time? I'm like, why aren't you? Like, what happened in your, I mean, of course there are things that happen, bad in people's lives and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's like, I've got pretty good.
So future, what are you excited about? Future projects, current projects that are coming out. This is the time where you plug.
Anyways, I have a new single coming out end of September. It's called Obvious, September 27th. Last year I released like 6 singles in the year, and this year I've been able to release 3. And it's always like, it's literally like Christmas morning when you release things, just to kind of like hear what people have to say. Mm-hmm. Stuff that I've really worked hard for, have come to fruition. Hopefully next year, more fairs, more festivals. CanaanCox.com/tour. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all those places, so if you want to see where I'm playing, all of that kind of fun stuff, it's all up on there.
Sweet. Well, follow Canaan on Instagram, follow We Should Write Some Time, and all the links will be in the description below.